You ever notice how in the Premier League, one player can be treated like a god by his fans and like a complete clown by everyone else? That's the magic of this league. One moment, you are the hero. The next, you are trending on Twitter with more memes than actual highlights. And trust me, football Twitter does not forgive, it does not forget, and it definitely does not miss the chance to roast you. What makes a Premier League player loved or hated? Is it the goals, the skills, the trophies, or just their attitude? Today, we are diving into the most hated and most loved players in Premier League history. And some of these names, they will split the comments section in half. Let's start with the man who still can't catch a break, Harry Maguire. Once the most expensive defender in the world, he somehow turned into a walking meme factory. From briefly reclaiming a leadership role at Manchester United under Ruben Amorim, with Maguire's contract extended through 2026, and the manager openly saying the squad needs leaders on the pitch, to every lapse in concentration being replayed on social media, Maguire remains polarising. United fans roast him, rival fans celebrate him, and Maguire probably earns more online abuse than some reality TV stars. Honestly, at this point, he deserves a medal just for logging into Instagram. Maguire's high-profile mishaps earn him a spot, but he's not alone. Luis Suarez deserves a category all his own. The man was a genius with the ball, yes, but also football's ultimate troublemaker. He bit opponents like he was testing out vampire cosplay, perfected world-class diving, and his infamous handball against Ghana turned millions of fans into sworn enemies. At Liverpool, he was adored. Everywhere else, he was public enemy number one. And then there's Bruno Fernandes, or should I say Fernandes. The guy could sneeze in the penalty box and somehow earn a penalty. Half the time he's playing football, the other half he's screaming at referees like a man arguing with his Wi-Fi provider. Talented? Absolutely. But if complaining was a statistic, he'd hold the all-time record. Even in 2025, Fernandes has openly responded to criticism from pundits like Roy Keane, insisting he'll do things in his own way while still recording double-digit goals and assists this season. I'm convinced referees hear his voice in their nightmares. But the gallery of hated players doesn't stop there. Granit Xhaka. Arsenal fans will never forget the day he told his own supporters to shut up and stormed off the pitch. Combine that with a reputation for red cards, and Xhaka was once the Premier League's chief villain. To his credit, he turned it around later on. But those early years, peak chaos. Then there's Mario Balotelli. Where do we even start? Fireworks in his bathroom, training ground bust-ups. Why always me? Shirts. He was a headline machine. City fans often found him hilarious. Rival fans found him unbearable. He didn't just play football. He made the Premier League feel like a reality TV show. But hey, not everyone's a heel. The Premier League has given us some of the most loved players ever. Let's flip the script. First up, N'Golo Kante. If you hate Kante, you probably also boo puppies at the park. The guy covers every blade of grass like he is two players rolled into one, wins Champions Leagues, World Cups, and still acts like the most humble person in the room. Always smiling, never causing drama. Kante is proof that nice guys don't always finish last. Mo Salah, the Egyptian king. Does he score goals for fun? Absolutely. Carries Liverpool with a seemingly effortless mix of pace and precision? Yep. Does he do it all while staying grounded, friendly, and respectful? Also, yes. Salah is the kind of player who will ruin your day on the pitch and still make you quietly say, fair play, he's class. That's respect. Modern fans' favourite love story? Son Heung-min may have left Spurs for Al Ittihad in 2025, but his Premier League legacy still shines bright. Even out of the Premier League, people still talk about that unstoppable work rate, constant smile, and fair play attitude. You don't have to support Al Ittihad to respect what Son brought to the table: pace, fun, and zero baggage. He really was football's golden retriever. Pure positivity and pure vibes, and that kind of player doesn't get forgotten just because he swapped England for Saudi Arabia. Then there are the legends. Thierry Henry, the artist. Watching him glide past defenders was like watching poetry in motion. Arsenal fans worshipped him. Rivals grudgingly admitted he was untouchable. Steven Gerrard, Liverpool's captain, fantastic even after the slip. You had to respect the fight. Alan Shearer, the Premier League's all-time top scorer, who celebrated goals with that iconic one-arm salute that turned into a universal symbol of excellence. David Beckham deserves a mention too. The Prince of Football was once hated for a red card at the '98 World Cup and shredded by tabloids, but he reinvented himself into one of the most loved English players ever. His curled free kicks, his dedication, his crossover into superstardom. Beckham was bigger than the game itself. Wayne Rooney is one of the few truly divided figures. To Manchester United fans, he's a legend. To rivals, he was often the villain. But even his haters respected him. The aggression, the relentlessness, and that overhead kick against City, iconic forever. Frank Lampard was Chelsea's classy midfield general, consistent, professional, and always solid. And John Terry, well, let's be honest, half the country hated him, half loved him, so maybe he belongs in both lists. Cult heroes? Peter Crouch. Sure, he didn't score hundreds of goals, but everywhere he went he was adored. Why? Because he never took himself too seriously. He jokingly referred to himself as a freak, famously did the robot dance, and proved you can be awkward, lanky, and still beloved in football. James Milner, the Premier League's Mr. Reliable. He's been around since before some of today's fans were born, quietly doing his job, winning trophies, and never complaining. Fans might call him boring, but in reality, he is universally respected. Milner is the dependable old car of the league. Never flashy, but always gets you home. In today's game, two names stand out as near universal love magnets. First, Erling Haaland. Some call him a cheat code, others see him as a robot. But when you're smashing records week after week, it's hard not to admire him. Rival fans boo, sure, but deep down, most of them would trade half their squad to have his scoring consistency. And Virgil van Dijk, Liverpool's rock at the back, calm, dominant, ruthless under pressure, and widely respected as one of the most complete defenders of his generation. You may not always support Liverpool, but even rival fans nod when Van Dijk clears a ball with ease. Then there's Kevin De Bruyne, Manchester City's maestro, the guy who makes football look easy, rarely dives, rarely moans, just pure vision and execution. In 2025, he's still racking up assists and scoring screamers, and even rival fans admit De Bruyne doesn't need flash. One pass, one strike, and you remember he's playing at an entirely different game level. You see what makes the Premier League so addictive. One man's villain is another man's hero. Ronaldo, worshipped at United, booed everywhere else. Drogba, feared by rivals, adored at Chelsea. Balotelli, hated for his chaos, loved for his entertainment. That balance of love and hate is the heartbeat of the league. Because here's the thing, football without villains is boring. Without players to boo, there's no passion. Without heroes to cheer, there's no magic. The Premier League thrives on drama. From Maguire memes to Salah screamers, from Suarez biting to Kante smiling, it's chaos, it's glory, it's heartbreak, and it's the reason we tune in every week. So tell me who's your most hated, who's your most loved. Drop it in the comments. And if you actually type Maguire is loved, I'll need proof, screenshots, and possibly a doctor's note, like subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.